So I'm here today with Stef Reid. Stef, how are you? I love that wave from camera.
I didn't know which way to wave. I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm really good. So listen, I love that you got in touch with me recently, and we've just been catching up about your speaking. And I love the fact you're inquisitive about it. You're already speaking, you're out there talking about your amazing achievements and what you're up to. How is the world of speaking to you?
Do you know what? It's so, to me, it's just hilarious I even ended up here. So my background actually is as a biochemist. And that was kind of the direction that I thought my life was going to be heading. And then I ended up in the world of Paralympics.
Yeah.
And the work that I did in biochemistry didn't really mix with being a Paralympian, in that, you're away 4 weeks on end and you can't really dump your work off on someone else. And so I needed to find a way to almost supplement my income as a Paralympian. Again, people forget we're not footballers.
Yes.
There's not prize money. And I just kind of fell into to speaking and loved it. And I just know in my life, the biggest changes have been made through interactions with other people. My perspective, my story, my experiences are so small, and life is so short, and I want to learn from everyone around me. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll try sharing my story. And I just loved it, and I carried on, and we're here now.
You're very open about what you've been through, and your mental health and stresses. Was that part of the journey, or was that kind of something that came naturally?
No, do you know what? I was always the kind of person where people would be like, it's okay to cry, it's okay to let things out. But I'm like, no, I don't want to. I just want to, I want to leave everything in. And then, just a bit of my background. My original dream was to be an international rugby superstar. That was
really?
That was what I wanted to do. Yeah, I grew up doing all sorts of sports.
Yeah.
I was introduced to rugby and absolutely fell in love. It was so much better than ballet. I thought, this is it. And when I was 15, everything changed in an instant. I was in a boating accident. I was run over by the boat and caught in propellers. Very lucky to survive. Thrilled to have survived. But with the unfortunate news that it had come at a cost, and unfortunately they hadn't been able to save all of my foot and had to amputate. And just that whole experience, for one, I genuinely thought I was going to die, and that was just not something on my radar as a 15-year-old. And that's when suddenly you get caught asking the deep questions that maybe you just wouldn't have considered because they just weren't part of your scope. But then just that experience of I think we've all experienced to an extent that devastation. Life does not always go as we want it to. And how do you square that away, and how do you find that motivation again? And I just remember being so angry in that hospital room at the idea of everyone else around me getting to pursue their dream, and I'm stuck there sitting on the sidelines. I was so angry about it. And you have to make that choice. Do I want to live this angry life, or will I do something else? But the weird thing was, even just, I think when you experience something that big and that's so many emotions, it just opens things up. And people have always said, yeah, but you're so fun and joyful and bubbly. And yes, I am. But I think part of that is because I think emotions are almost like a pendulum. And when you felt so much pain, actually your capacity for joy increases, and it just kind of goes back and forth.
And when you're sharing that, how do you want people to feel while you're kind of talking people through these emotions?
I want people to feel them, but I want them to feel them through their lens. I want to almost be forgotten about.
Right.
And I want them focused on the things in their life, either that they have felt and that they're resonating with. And I want everybody to leave that arena, the auditorium, whatever it is, almost forgetting about me, just being so focused on, this is now what I'm going to change. This is what I'm going to do to live my best life, my high performance life.
So you've been very, very successful in your career. What are you most proud of?
This will probably surprise some people, but it's so sad as well.
I can't believe you got it. Really a big build up, and you got to
But okay, genuinely, I've been to 4 different Paralympics, and I've won medals, but without doubt, the hardest thing I've ever done in my life was a reality TV show called Dancing on Ice. And this is where Christopher Dean and Jane Torville. They basically they teach celebrities how to dance on ice. So step number one, you have to learn how to skate. And I mean, I knew nothing about skating, which was fantastic because I was so naive, and I thought, I'm gonna be fine. I'm an athlete. I can do this. Not realizing actually proprioception in your feet and ankles is kind of a big deal for balance and skating, and I only have one.
Yes.
And it was probably one of the first times in my life where I genuinely just thought, I don't see a way forward. I am so bad. I am so bad. Everybody around me can skate, and we're still messing about trying to find a skate to fit on my artificial foot and make it work. And it was probably, the closest I've ever come to wanting to quit and just being like, millions of people are.
How was that feeling?
It was awful.
Was it?
You know, it's just, there were millions of people that were there to watch, and I actually had to come to this place. And I'm a big fan of thinking big and thinking with big vision, but you have to live in reality.
Yeah.
And so I looked at myself in the mirror. Well, and it was actually in a locker room in one of these skating rinks one day, and I just said, Stephanie, I tend to talk in the third person.
We're judging for that. You can go ahead.
And I just said, Stephanie, the reality is, this might be a step too far for you. It may be physically impossible for an amputee to excel at this. And you might have to accept that. And if that is reality, what is my response going to be? My response is going to be, I'm going to be the best, worst skater that I can be. That is what I will do. And so I thought, anything I can think of to make myself better. You know, I wasn't a dancer, I wasn't a performer, but I can work on armography, I can work on my facial expressions. I showed up to every single public skate session every Saturday and Sunday. If I ever see another kid's disco birthday party again, oh my goodness, I can't do it. But I just thought, I will give myself the best shot that I can. Yeah. And then I'll let it go, because I just couldn't do anything else about it. Yeah. So why stress about it? So that was what I did. And actually, once I let go of that stress, it was the most fun. I mean, I had so much fun with my partner. It was the most fun thing I ever had. And then the crazy thing was, I actually started getting better. Yeah. And part of it was because my coach, Andy, my skating professional partner as well, he realized that the normal learning curve didn't work for me. I mean, on the one hand, I still couldn't do basics like stop. but because I needs to stop. Yeah. No, but you're right. In a routine, it actually isn't that important. You only really need to stop at the end. And then it's like, we can fake that. So let's stop obsessing about that. And actually, because I was really strong and athletic, you know, I just finished Tokyo, we just skipped all the basic stuff and we went right to the Olympic lifts. Beautiful. And they were fantastic. Yeah. And so we just adjusted the strategy and we had fun, and I just kept getting better and better. But even for me, it was still just to live. It was in total 6 months. I mean, we're talking constant, like I lived off adrenaline, anxiety, and coffee. And I don't recommend that for a long time. For a short time, it's good for growth. But I think it was just, I was pushed to my limit every single day. And I'm just really proud of myself for sticking it out. That was a very long answer for you.
Honestly, I loved it. Have you back on the Iceland?
Yes. Would you believe I'm actually now, I loved it. Did you? I loved it so much. I was gutted when I was voted off the show. I think that was probably the only, everyone always said she must be acting because she's so happy all the time. No, I was genuinely happy. I only acted the day that I was kicked off. And I thought, Stephanie, put a smile on. And I'm like,
we love an athlete who like properly like shows there like competitive.
I know. I'm like, I wanted to stay, but I was really sad. And then I realized, Stephanie, this show does not own every rink in the UK. You know, skating will always be there. And I stuck with it. And I'm now actually one of the diversity ambassadors for British ice skating. Oh, and I am the first amputee in the history of skating to pass skills test level 1, which is part of their examination program. And so, I still skate all the time. Amazing. I'm actually, I don't know. How
you had to learn how to stop.
I can stop now. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. It's not delicate and beautiful, but again, we just kind of let that go. But I absolutely love it. It's I skate 3 times a week, and I'm learning how to do an axel. I want to be the first amputee to land a single rotation. Even still, it's really hard. And so we'll see where that goes.
Good luck. One last question, and I'll let you be. Your dream was to be the international rugby superstar. Have you ever played rugby since Jackson?
Do you know, I actually haven't. No, well, actually, that's not true. So about a year after the accident, I got my first running blade. Well, more like a jogging blade, not the kind that I used to sprint in. And I so badly wanted to go back to rugby, so badly. But the reality was, you know, I had this like Hollywood vision. I was going to come back. I was going to be amazing. I was going to score. I was a scrum half, and you know, the reality, it just wasn't. It wasn't that. No, it was the thing that you miss the most as an amputee. Yes, I can run very fast in a straight line. It's the agility.
Okay.
And it was actually, the hardest thing was I was constantly comparing myself to the rugby player I used to be. And I was never going to match that. And that was actually just the most frustrating thing. Whereas the reason I've kind of gone in the direction with athletics and skating, I never did those things before.
Interesting.
So it's almost like this fresh slate. And so, no, I never did go back. I still struggle sometimes to watch it because I just loved it so much. I'm kind of getting to the point now where I can. But I think, again, there are so many awesome things to do in life. If one thing doesn't work out, it's okay. Like there is a whole world, and we definitely don't even have enough time to explore it all. And so it's just, you know, being happy with what is in front of you right now and doing the best that you can with that.
Thanks so much for your time.
Oh, my pleasure.
Fun.
Yeah, it has been.